It's the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
This is Kyle Hyman, and joining us this morning to talk about the Seek Conference and give us a little update on how things went is one of the attendees, Maclaine Capshew. Thanks for being here, Maclaine.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Kyle, for having me.
Yeah, you're currently student teaching up at St. Pius. How's that going?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's going so well. I've been a parishioner there for 13 years, so it's very homey for me, and I love the kids so much.
Nice. So,
yeah.
Backing up a little bit, what was your experience of the faith growing up?
Yeah, I grew up with Catholic parents, but never really had a call to holiness. I didn't really understand that concept. It wasn't until I went to Indiana University where focus actually came to our campus that I knew that I was called to a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ, and that it was something that had to be very active and kind of transformative to my life.
Can you explain what Focus is and how it was so transformative for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Focus it stands for the Fellowship of Catholic University Students, and it's over 700 missionaries that are sent to college campuses around America, as well as 4 different countries that kind of go to campuses and reignite the faith in the students there in the Newman Centers. We have missionaries on 153 campuses in the United States. So it's an incredible organization that really invites students, like I said, into that deeper relationship with Jesus Christ. And
I would imagine it's more common for people to lose their faith in college than to gain an appreciation for it. So what do you think made your experience different than what might be the norm?
Yeah, it's funny because I really did lose my faith at the beginning. I was still very involved with the Newman Center, but I was excited to live a double life of being involved with Jesus, but also being a completely different person on the weekends. And so once Focus came, I actually understood how I should be laying down my life for the women in my Bible study, how I should be discipling other people, just as Jesus did, in order to actually bring them back to the faith along with myself. So it's always a growing and learning process for everyone.
And then, was this your first year going to the Seek Conference?
Yes, I had gone to their other annual conference called SLS, which stands for the Student Leadership Summit. I had gone last year, but this was my very first Seek, and it was very incredible. It definitely delivered.
Yeah, what made you want to go in the first place?
I am actually a Focus new hire as a missionary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I obviously adore the organization and want to be a missionary to lay my life down in the same way that they have done for me. And so the initial draw to Seek was actually the numbers. We had 17,000 people signed up for Seek 2019. I had only ever been to something of that caliber that was Catholic during World Youth Day in Poland when I went after my freshman year.
Yeah.
And so I think the numbers really attracted me, and a lot of the other students that we invited. IU actually had 95 students attend the conference, and it was such a grace to be able to see their growth in faith over just 5 days, but actually see with such large numbers such a radical transformation that Jesus wanted for them.
Now, I was following so many people on social media that were going to the conference and posting things about it.
Yeah.
So I got to see a lot of the cool stuff. For those that aren't familiar with the Seek Conference, how would you describe it?
I would describe Seek as just kind of having an encounter with Jesus. So it kind of gives room for anyone to meet him. This means that any student can attend. You don't have to be Catholic. There were a lot of students who weren't, who maybe were not familiar with the Catholic faith, but had attendance to daily Mass every single day and were able to see the Catholic faith in all of its beauty. After daily Mass, we went to men and women's concurrent sessions. So the men and the women broke up and were able to have these keynote speakers that really spoke to our specific experiences and unite us as men and as women. From there, you go to a ton of different talks. You can pick however many you want, ranging on topics anywhere from NFP to euthanasia to kind of any Catholic topic. Kind of have a sample of what does the church teach about this? How can I apply church teaching to relationships or addictions? And then from there, we have dinner, and then we come back for the big keynote speakers where everyone is together. There's usually some sort of entertainment at night. There are always movies you can watch, speakers you can see. We had a comedian the first night, which was awesome. And then the big peak of the entire conference is on the third day when we have our adoration and confession time. So there's an hour and a half of adoration in which the host is processed all around this giant conference center. I'm sure you can imagine this.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that is very hard for me to imagine, but yeah, and students are able to actually see Jesus and reach out to him very literally. And during this time, we are invited to receive the sacrament of reconciliation, which for some students might not have happened for a very long time. In that one night, we had over about 4,700 confessions heard that night, which is such a gift.
Yeah.
And through the conference, about 6,500 confessions were heard total.
Huh.
I know that sacrament can transform the lives of people. It has for me. And so that was an exceptional gift to witness.
We're talking with Maclaine Capshew. She's talking about the Seek conference that was just held last week down in Indianapolis. It moves around, I know. Do you know where the next one's going to be?
Yes. So actually the conferences switch on and off between Seek and SLS. So the next year, 2020, we will have SLS, the Student Leadership Summit. And that's really for students who want more out of the faith and who have kind of had that encounter with Jesus Christ, and they are committed to becoming Catholic leaders on their campuses, in their parishes, in their families. And so that's more of a training conference. And so SLS 20 will actually be held in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay. And who were some of the speakers that were in Indianapolis?
Yeah, we had Father Mike Schmitz, who was definitely one of the powerhouses.
Yeah.
Everyone loved him. We had Sister Bethany Madonna. She was an incredible speaker. My favorite speaker was Sister Miriam James Heidland.
Sure.
We had Leah Darrow, Jason Everett, kind of all of those like top Catholic speakers that a lot of people have maybe heard of before or know.
Yeah.
So all of the Catholic speakers were absolutely incredible, so approachable as well. They want to meet people. They want to hear their stories. And that was an incredible thing to watch as well.
Was there a particular message or maybe one of the talks that really kind of spoke to you?
Yeah, I was very moved by Father Mike Schmitz's final keynote. He had the final message before we celebrated our commissioning Mass on Monday. That was the end of the entire conference. So we are building up to this point, and he delivers the speech right before Mass. And what he spoke about was indifference. And I think that is something that college students especially like I have experienced this as well personally. We experience so much on campus having indifference towards other people, and that is very spiritual as well. Maybe we know Jesus and maybe we love him so much, but we don't care enough to act, and we don't care enough to share him with other people. And if he is the most important thing in someone's life, then that should be shared, especially with everyone that they know.
Yeah. So do you think it's changed your outlook on life, on faith, changed anything that you're going to be doing in the future, New Year's resolutions, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's amazing to see 17,000 people there. I often have thought of maybe a practicing Catholic in college and have kind of constructed what they might look like. But I have seen so many different people from so many backgrounds, so many schools that want a relationship with Jesus. And so I've grown in not being able to put people into a box and inviting everyone into a relationship with Jesus. From this year, I took down too many notes to tell you, Kyle, but I will definitely be looking back at those. And we actually get these handbooks that have prayers and have reflections. And so we're able to, when we really have spiritual dryness, go back to these books. What did I write down? What was Jesus telling me in my heart during this conference? Because I want to rekindle that and I want to get back to that. So definitely revisiting everything there. And I think that indifference is something that I will be specifically focusing on this year.
Well, and for people that want more information about the Seek Conference, the leadership conference that you were talking about, and just the work of Focus in general, they can go to focus.org. That's Focus like you would expect, FOCUS.org. And also, I wanted to give you a chance to mention Catholic Convo. Can you explain what Catholic Convo is? And maybe we'll have to have you back on to talk more about that in the future.
Yes, I would love to. So I began a Catholic blog on Instagram. It's called @a-Catholic-Convo, CONVO, like conversation. It really started as a personal journal between God and I, just trying to visualize what my faith at the time looked like through my photography. From then, I realized that Instagram has an extremely rich Catholic community that is very invested in the new evangelization, that really desires to reach people where they are most looking at and to bring light into something that might be very consuming. And so, yeah, I do weekly reflections on there, just kind of like sharing my heart. I feature a ton of Catholic companies that I work with, which I think is very important to support and to know about. So, yes, it's @a-Catholic-Convo.
All right, and you can check that out on Instagram or acatholicconvo.com also. Really awesome stuff that you're putting out. I really recommend people check it out. So keep up the good work, and thanks for sharing a little bit about Seek with us.
Thank you, Kyle. Yes, I love talking about it.